Mike Morris, thanks for being here, Vice President of Production at Spartan Race.
Hello.
Mike, you have been with Spartan Race for almost since the beginning at this point now. And talk to me about what you guys have going on leading up to the Spartan Race World Championships very soon.
It is around the corner, and we're definitely feeling the hustle here in the office, which is good. It's a good energy. It's an event we all love. It's kind of the pinnacle event for us for the entire year. Obviously, got Iceland this year, which is another one around the corner, but Tahoe is amazing. Just a lot of this planning is spinning up right now, going full bore, and we're real excited to get there.
And I saw something that said that you guys are going to have a double spear throw possibly at the World Champs this year. Is there anything else that I know you can't really tell us all the obstacles, but is there anything else that we should be looking out for or that you're really excited about kind of going into this year's event?
There's definitely going to be a couple twists. Nothing crazy. Like, we still want to build upon the whole sport aspect of it. Want to be a fair and competitive race for all people from around the globe. But I think if you pay attention to our social media outlets, you'll see some things over the next few weeks that will hopefully give a little more perspective for folks that are preparing for the event. But I did hear a rumor that there's a double spear throw.
And I'm really interested too because you guys added a new event this year with the team event. So can you tell me a little bit about that and the reasoning behind adding the team event and how that all works?
Yeah, so obviously the international presence is huge at the events. It's one of the for all the Spartan races has probably the biggest international presence of all, and we want to build on that. I mean, our partners are awesome overseas. We've got a lot of amazing racers overseas as well, and so here's a chance to take the energy behind that and form more of a country-based team event. And so that's what it is, right? We have the top, I think it's 3 people for each team, for each country, come represent the country and race in a team-based format.
Excellent. And what else do you guys have going on? I know last year, I believe it was last year, we had a pretty big meeting about the drug testing. And so is that something we're going to see implemented at this year's World Championships?
Drug testing is going to happen, yes. The details, we're still working through some of them. I mean, the people that, and admittedly, I don't know as much as the folks that are in charge of it, but there's certainly some drug testing that will happen. And my guess it's probably going to revolve around the folks that win and the top folks.
Excellent. And
top racers.
And what else do you guys have going on so far? Because it really seems like the Spartan World Championships is more than just a single race or 2 days of racing. There's always more going on that week. I know you're on the production side mostly, but what else is there sort of for people during that whole weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it really goes beyond just the Saturday race. I mean, obviously there's the Ultra Beast on Sunday. We've got the team event on Sunday. We've got the kind of a VIP CO challenge on Sunday. But beyond that, it's Friday. Friday's huge. It's a full day of the festivals will be open starting midday. We've got athlete panels that are happening in the main village area on a big stage. We've got the racer brief. We've got a press conference. So there's a lot going on Friday as well. Plus the town and the village of Squaw is amazing. Obviously you've been there, but just the feel of it when you show up, that it's got that Olympic heritage. It's that kind of high alpine village that's just amazing and awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so much to do there, even if you're just a spectator for the weekend. Even outside the village, as you just said, I mean, there's restaurants, there's bars, there's shopping, so it's really kind of a destination weekend. Now, everybody should have, hopefully, if they're competing, whether it's in the open or the elite or competitive, for the World Championship weekend, whatever race it is. But you have a really long background in sports. So if there were like 1 or 2 things that you would recommend people do for these last couple of weeks leading up to the World Championships, what's your best advice as a seasoned athlete yourself?
Oh, it's a great question, and actually one that I'm glad you asked, because I learned a long time ago in a race the hard way that you should always listen to the race director when they give you specific guidance. And I think it was, at the risk of just being the guy that tells a story, there was an adventure race where It was a 3-day race, and there was a bunch of canoe portages, and the race director said you should bring a canoe cart to put your canoe on. And we had 2 canoes, and we were cheap, and we thought, we need one cart's fine. We'll stack the carts on top of each other, and we can just carry the canoe otherwise. Well, that was a terrible mistake because the one canoe cart couldn't handle the 2 canoes, and it broke, and we ended up carrying the canoes for something like 10 miles, and it was totally detrimental to the race itself. So I remember thinking the entire time, man, I should have listened to the race director. They told us to bring 2 carts, and we definitely needed it. And we see that all the time in our sport, where it's in our entire racer segment, where we'll say, you should bring hydration, you should bring calories, you should prepare to swim, whatever. And people, they'll literally tell me, I read that, but I didn't think it actually mattered. And I remember actually trying to convince one of my good friends for Killington, like, you should wear a Camelback. And they're like, really? I'm like, yes. And I had to convince my friend who knows my role in the company that they should bring a Camelback. And they ended up bringing it, and they're like, oh man, I'm so glad I listened to you. And so for Tahoe, I think the biggest thing that gets most people, and this is probably for later in the day, is the cold and the wind and the exposure. I can't tell you how many people got pulled off the mountain both years because they show up just, as the sun's going down and they're shivering uncontrollably. And we're like, look, especially the Ultra Beast, like we told you, we know it's going to be cold. We warned you multiple times, and they don't have any sort of protection at all in terms of weather, in terms of gear. And it's funny, we'll see one group come down, they're all wearing t-shirts, shivering uncontrollably, and they're like, how do I get off the mountain? And then the second group comes down, and half of them are wearing puffy coats and jackets. And I'm like, wow, you guys are prepared. They're like, oh, we were here last year, and we learned the hard way. And so I think the piece of advice I'd give for those of you guys that might be out there a long time, especially later in the day, is prepare for the cold, prepare for the wind. The swim gets you. If I was racing and I was maybe even doing the Ultra Beast towards the end of the day, I'd probably throw like a dry shirt in a Ziploc and throw that in my Camelback, like super lightweight. And then I'd take off as much clothes as I could for the swim, and then be ready to put on that dry gear afterwards. I'd also come prepared with the hydration and nutrition as necessary. Those are the 2 biggest things I think in terms of Tahoe I'd prepare for.
And for someone that's maybe coming from sea level, and obviously Tahoe is at elevation, do you have any tips or tricks that have worked for you from when you do live at sea level and all of a sudden you find yourself
Oh,
racing at elevation?
um, I'm lucky in that the elevation doesn't impact me much, and it can be an equalizer. I have friends that are at sea level would smoke me, and then you get at elevation, it's a normalizer. But there's all sorts of tips and tricks out there, even just through Googling, but obviously time helps. Hydration is critically important. I find even just throwing down some electrolytes, in keeping on par with your nutrition hydration, it helps a lot. So definitely drinking a lot. And the sooner you can get out, the better. And some light exercise obviously helps normalize.
Well, awesome. And before I let you go, I just want to, you touched on it a little bit in the beginning, is Iceland. Can you tell us a little bit more about Iceland? And because you guys recently, we got news from you all that you've added more events to the Iceland weekend, the agoge and a sprint. So can you tell us a little bit about how that's shaping up?
Yeah, it's definitely still shaping up, but it's gonna be epic. So first off, Iceland, 24 hours. There's only about 4 or 5 hours of actual daylight, and so I love racing at night. I think it adds an element that just takes things to a next level. So to be able to do that for 19 hours is pretty awesome. It's cold too, so you got to be prepared for the elements. But beyond that, we've got a sprint race. So for those that come out, maybe they're part of the support crew in the transition area, and they want to do a lap, they can do that. If there's someone that maybe just wants to come out and tour Iceland, and then maybe just do a quick sprint race, they will. So we're calling it a sprint. It's gonna be one lap of the actual loop course, and they get a chance to do that. There is the agoge, which, as you guys know, is the multi-day, pretty intense event. We've got the team ultra as well, so you can sign up in teams and complete the ultra as well. So it's definitely shaping up to be something pretty cool. There's going to be parts of it that are really raw, but we're also trying to really appreciate the fact that people want to have fun, and we've all been through those races where you start borderlining on what's intense and raw and epic, and we're still having fun, and we're trying to do a little bit of both, and even the festival itself is going to be actually in a dome, so you can come back to your transition area and not be in 0-degree weather. You can appreciate a little bit more warmth and as you prepare for the next lap, and that'll make it more exciting for your spectators and and just the whole experience in general.
And a lot harder to go back out again if it is cold and
Oh, it's the
wet.
worst. I've definitely come off some long, dark sections of races and sat next to a campfire that the transition crew or something set up, and you're just like, I don't want to leave. And so there'll certainly be that, and it'll be really easy just to say, okay, I'll just stay here for a little while longer.
Well, excellent. I mean, I am really excited to see you in person in Tahoe, and hopefully trying to make it to Iceland as well later on this year. But
Cool.
would love to get to both of them. But Mike, thanks so much for taking the time and talking a little bit about what's going on at Spartan World Championships this year.
Awesome. Are we going to see you run around the course again, obviously?
I will be running around the course, not necessarily running the course, but I will be running around the course and with lots of backpack full of camera stuff.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Great. We'll see you then.